Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into the research on why modern life feels so unbelievably exhausting. And more importantly, we're giving you 3 highly actionable formulas to win back your focus. We're going to break down the science of essentialism and digital minimalism into what we can call asan alfaz, extremely simple, everyday words, so you can literally start applying these concepts the minute we're done here.
Here's our roadmap for today. 1. The stress of modern life. 2. Formula 1, the vital few. 3. Formula 2, intentional tech use. 4. Formula 3, high-quality leisure. And 5. The meaningful life. Let's jump right in.
Section 1. The stress of modern life. Why exactly are we so burned out? Picture your average morning, right? You wake up, grab the phone before your feet even hit the floor, rush out the door, field 100 rapid-fire emails, scroll through social media, and somehow say yes to 3 favors you absolutely do not have time for. We've somehow completely convinced ourselves that this frantic, endless busyness is the exact same thing as being productive. But the research tells a totally different story. This constant, non-stop connection is actually breaking us down.
And that brings us to something called solitude deprivation. This is a state where you spend close to 0 time alone with your own thoughts, totally free from the input of other minds. Think about it. It used to be that waiting in line or riding the bus meant you were literally forced to just sit with yourself. Today, the second we feel even a tiny hint of boredom, boom, out comes the smartphone. The result of this is a literal epidemic of low-grade anxiety simply because our brains never get a moment to power down, process our actual feelings, or figure out what we actually care about. So to cure this modern stress, we need to make a massive shift in how we operate. We have to stop obsessing over what researchers call the trivial many. You know what I mean? The endless tasks, the useless apps, that constant digital pings just begging for your attention. Instead, we have to ruthlessly prioritize the vital few. These are your deep values, high-quality focus, and the clear goals that actually bring meaning to your day. Let's look at exactly how to make that happen.
Moving to Section 2, and our first simple formula, the vital few. Choose quality over quantity.
This visual perfectly captures the core of essentialism. Look at this circle on the left, with arrows pointing everywhere. That's how most of us live our lives, spending our energy in a million different directions, but only making about a millimeter of progress in each one. Now, look over at the right. That is the exact same amount of energy, but it's focused entirely in one single direction. The hard truth is, you simply cannot have it all or do it all. You have to decide which problem you actually want to solve and pour your energy into the vital few things that truly matter.
But how do you actually decide what gets your focus? Well, to get that clarity, apply the 90% rule. Here's how it works in real life. Whenever an opportunity pops up, rate it on a scale of 0 to 100. If it doesn't score at least a 90, you immediately change that score to a 0 and walk away. If it isn't a definite, absolute yes, then it is a hard no. This one rule completely stops you from getting bogged down in mediocre commitments that just end up wasting your time.
And to save yourself from major decision fatigue, you need a buffer. Look, human beings are notoriously terrible at guessing how long things actually take. So always add a 50% margin to your schedule. If you think a task will take 10 minutes, give yourself 15. If a meeting usually takes an hour, block out an hour and a half. The only thing we can expect with 100% certainty in life is the unexpected. By adding this 50% buffer, you can easily handle those weird, unexpected challenges without your whole day completely falling apart.
All right, Section 3, formula number 2, intentional tech use. Control your screen, don't let it control you. For this, we use a highly effective 3-step minimalist technology screen. Put in simple words, before you let an app or a device into your life, it has to pass these 3 strict rules. Step 1. It absolutely must serve something you deeply value. Just offering some random benefit isn't enough. Step 2. It has to be the absolute best way to use technology to serve that value. And Step 3. You have to establish a strict standard operating procedure for exactly when and how you use it. No exceptions.
Let me give you a real-world example of this in action because it's brilliant. The research highlights a tech executive named Daniel. Daniel noticed his smartphone was making him super anxious and completely distracting him from his kids. So he applied this formula. He actually took his expensive, highly distracting smartphone and locked it in a kitchen cupboard. He literally only takes it out when he goes for a run to listen to music. For his everyday life, he switched to an old-school dumb phone that only makes calls and sends basic texts. He completely took back his control.
Here are a few more practical ways you can create your own standard operating procedures. Remember, the whole goal is to stop thoughtlessly tapping screens just because you're bored. You might decide to delete all social media off your phone entirely and say, I'm only checking Facebook on my laptop on Saturday mornings. Or take Gabriella, another great example from the research. She stopped binge-watching TV by herself and made a strict rule to only stream shows as a social activity with friends. These simple boundaries completely eliminate those unpredictable digital slot machines from our pockets.
Which brings us to Section 4. Formula number 3. High-quality leisure. Doing real things in the real world.
Look, if you suddenly stop scrolling on your phone for 3 hours a day, you are going to feel a massive void. It's inevitable. We have to replace that empty scrolling with what's called high-quality leisure. In simple terms, these are analog, real-world activities that give you a profound sense of inward joy. Now, here's the catch. These activities often sound a bit like work because they require real physical or creative effort. But the research points to something called the Bennett principle. The mental relaxation and value you get out of an activity is actually proportional to the strenuous energy you put into it. Mindless scrolling gives you absolutely nothing, but building something with your own two hands, that gives you immense satisfaction.
So what does this actually look like? Well, it could be taking long, totally device-free walks just to finally get some solitude and hear yourself think. It could be doing manual labor, like this couple from the research, Pete and Liz, who spend their weekends physically clearing nature trails with hand tools. Or it could be a creative habit. There's this wonderful story of a father named Dave. He completely replaced his evening screen time with drawing these incredibly unique, custom pictures for his kids' lunchboxes every single night. That right there, that is energy spent on the vital few.
Let's bring it all together. Section 5, the meaningful life, reclaiming your time. Let's take a calm look at what these formulas actually mean for your daily routine.
Over a century ago, the philosopher Henry David Thoreau wrote this incredibly beautiful reflective thought. He said, "The mass of men lead lives of quiet desperation, but alert and healthy natures remember that the sun rose clear." I think that's such a powerful reminder for us today. It is so easy to feel completely trapped by the endless noise, the overflowing inboxes, and the glowing screens of our modern world. But the sun still rises clear. We still have the power, right now, today, to change how we live. We can actively choose to step away from the noise.
So I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought. Fast forward to the very end of your one single life. When you look back, what are you going to see? Will your tombstone simply read, "He checked email"? Or will you decide today to stop making a millimeter of progress in a million different directions? Start asking yourself right now, what is essential? Find that answer and eliminate everything else.